You're standing in a crowded room, or maybe you're scrolling through a sea of digital faces on an app and you're waiting for it. That spark, that sudden cosmic alignment where the noise of the world drops away and you finally see the one person who was literally manufactured to complete you. You've been told this story since you could crawl. It's the legacy script of the soulmate. It's the idea that out of 8 billion people, there is one single, perfect biological match designed to solve your loneliness and validate your existence. But here is the cold, clinical truth underneath the romance. The belief in soulmates isn't a fairy tale. It is a sophisticated psychological defense mechanism. It is an attempt to outsource the brutal work of self-integration to a stranger. You aren't looking for a partner. You're looking for a mirror that only reflects the parts of you that you like. This isn't a quest for love. It's a quest for emotional sovereignty through someone else's eyes. Before we deconstruct this machinery, I want to hear from the Council of Truth in the comments. Have you ever felt that instant click only to watch the entire architecture collapse 6 months later? Or are you still waiting for the one because the many feel too much like work? Let's talk about the moment you realize the spark might actually just be the friction of two traumas rubbing together. To understand why the soulmate script is so lethal, we have to look at how we build our internal defenses. Society sells us the destiny narrative because it's easy. It suggests that compatibility is a static find, not a dynamic build. If you believe in soulmates, you believe that the one will understand your social cues without you having to explain them. You believe they will see through your walls without you having to take them down. This is the ultimate perfectionism paradox. By waiting for a perfect match, you are successfully avoiding the terrifying vulnerability of being seen as an imperfect, glitchy human being. It's a freeze response disguised as high standards. If no one is the one, then you never actually have to commit. You never have to do the hard work of social engineering a real, messy, long-term connection because you're always scanning the horizon for a cosmic upgrade. Think about the psychological toll of this scanning mode. When you believe in soulmates, every person you meet is immediately put on an audition stage. You aren't looking at them as a human being with their own architecture. You're looking at them as a potential solution to your problems. The moment they show a flaw, the moment they don't read your mind or they challenge your ego, the script tells you that this isn't it and you should move on. You become a serial quitter in the name of high standards. You are protecting your ego by ensuring no one ever gets close enough to see the real you. Most people who are obsessed with finding a soulmate are actually struggling with a tribe wound. They were told early on, by parents, peers, or the general culture, that they were too much, not enough, or just plain weird. They grew up feeling like an alien in the standard pack. So, they look for a soulmate to act as a universal validator. They want someone to step into their life and say the tribe was wrong and that they are actually a masterpiece. They want to hear that their glitches are features, not bugs. This feels like salvation, but it is actually a trap. When you base your value on a soulmate's approval, you aren't sovereign. You've just traded a large cage for a very small, intimate cage. You aren't a lone wolf finding a mate. You're a ghost looking for a host. You are asking another person to carry the weight of your identity because you're too tired to carry it yourself. This is why soulmate relationships often turn into codependency architecture. If that person is your other half, then without them, you are mathematically incomplete. That's a terrifying way to live. It breeds resentment, control, and a constant fear of abandonment. You start monitoring their every move, looking for signs that the spark is fading. Because if it fades, your entire sense of self vanishes with it. We have to talk about the spark. We've been conditioned to think that a sudden, intense attraction is a sign from the universe. But in the Council of Truth, we know that the spark is often just a high-stakes dopamine spike triggered by unresolved pattern recognition. Often, what we call destiny is actually just our subconscious recognizing a familiar trauma. If you grew up with a parent who was emotionally distant, you will feel an instant click with people who are emotionally unavailable. Your brain says it knows this script and knows how to play this role. You mistake the anxiety of trying to win their love for the magic of a soulmate connection. This is the dark triad of romantic belief: Machiavellian control, avoidance of intimacy, and hidden inauthenticity. You use the soulmate tag to justify controlling the partner. You use destiny as an excuse not to communicate, and you perform a perfect version of yourself to maintain the fantasy until the real you inevitably leaks out. The Sigma mind sees the strings on this puppet show. A truly sovereign man realizes that a soulmate is not something you find in the wild. It is someone you architect through thousands of hours of shared friction. Think about the difference between a found object and a built structure. A found object is fragile. If it breaks, it's useless. But a built structure is something you understand from the foundation up. You know where the support beams are. You know how to repair the roof when it leaks. You aren't afraid of the glitches in the relationship because you were there when they were integrated into the design. True connection isn't a cosmic glitch that happens to you. It is a tactical choice. It's two people who have walked off the assembly line of performance and decided to build a private reality. They aren't halves coming together. They are two sovereign wholes choosing to share a vantage point. We are currently living through the greatest soulmate crisis in human history. The digital matrix, dating apps, social media, the constant stream of perfect couples has weaponized our desire for the one. The algorithm is designed to keep you scanning. It feeds the perfectionism paradox by showing you an infinite supply of potential soulmates just one swipe away. This creates a psychological state called choice paralysis. When you believe there is a perfect match out there, you treat every real human being as a temporary placeholder. You aren't dating, you're auditioning. You are looking for reasons to disqualify people so you can get back to the hunt. This is the ultimate outsider's edge gone wrong. You've become so detached from the human experience that you've forgotten how to actually build a connection. You are waiting for a person who doesn't exist to save you from a life you haven't started living. If you're still waiting for a sign from the universe, I want you to look in the mirror. The missing piece you're looking for isn't wandering around a coffee shop in another city. It's the part of yourself you've been too afraid to own. The fog lifts and the strings snap when you realize that you are already a complete unit. You don't need a co-sovereign to validate your architecture. You need one to challenge it. A real partner isn't someone who makes you feel safe in your delusions. They are the person who holds up a mirror and forces you to see your own legacy scripts. Friction is the only way we know we're still moving. In a relationship, friction isn't a sign that you found the wrong person. It's a sign that the two of you are actually touching. It's the sound of two individual identities learning how to occupy the same space without losing their sovereignty. Stop reading the script that says you are half of a whole. You are the architect. You are the observer. And the only one who can actually change your reality is the person currently holding the phone. When you stop looking for a soulmate, you finally become capable of love. Because real love isn't about finding a person who fits your destiny template. Real love is the ability to see another human being in all their messy, glitchy, untemplated glory and saying you choose to build something with them anyway. It's about trading the cosmic spark for internal fire. It's about being so comfortable in your own skin that you don't need anyone to complete you. And ironically, that is exactly when you become the kind of man that a co-sovereign actually wants to be with. You aren't a lone wolf because you're alone. You're a lone wolf because you refuse to let a fairy tale run your life. You are building your own pack, on your own terms, one honest brick at a time. The search for a soulmate is often a search for a shortcut to self-acceptance. We hope that if someone else loves us perfectly, we won't have to deal with the parts of ourselves we despise. But no amount of external adoration can fix a foundation that you haven't laid yourself. The architecture of a sovereign life requires you to be the primary inhabitant of your own mind. When you stop treating partners as structural supports, you can finally treat them as fellow travelers. Every major leap in your personal evolution comes when you stop asking for permission from a mythical destiny and start taking responsibility for your choices. The soulmate myth is a sedative. It keeps you passive, waiting for the universe to do the work you were born to do. True power comes from realizing that there is no one coming to save you, and that is the best news you've ever heard. It means you are free. You are free to fail, free to build, and free to love someone, not because they were destined to be yours, but because you are brave enough to choose them. The tribe wants you to believe in soulmates, because it makes you predictable and manageable. It keeps you in the market for products, services, and lifestyles that promise to help you find that one missing piece. But a sovereign man is a threat to that system because he is already whole. He doesn't buy into the scarcity of connection. He understands the abundance of his own internal resources. He doesn't wait for a sign. He becomes the sign. Look at the history of the outsiders who actually changed the world. They didn't find their way by following a map of romantic destiny. They found it by being willing to stand in the cold until they could build their own fire. They integrated their shadows and owned their glitches. They became so solid in their own reality that the world had no choice but to adjust to them. That is the path we are walking here in the Council of Truth. It's not about finding a soulmate. It's about becoming a soul that is worth meeting. If this resonated with you, if you felt that pull to outsource your identity to a fantasy, then it's time to snap the strings. The architecture of your future doesn't require a missing piece. It requires you to show up, fully present and fully sovereign. Stop auditioning and start building. The world doesn't need more people looking for their other half. It needs more people who are brave enough to be whole. I'm David. This is the truth underneath the spark. I'll see you in the next one.